Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Ivy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
The Rise of TikTok Brain. Sounds like a horror movie.
It kind of is.
好，那我们的中文标题是长期看短影音，小心染抖音脑 TikTok brain.
Bean brain.
All right, please listen as we read it through the first time, but we will be going over it, of course, sentence by sentence, and we have a few questions, reading comprehension questions for you at the end. The latest social media app to spread like wildfire among young people is TikTok. This app works by people creating and sharing short videos that usually last under a minute. The videos posted often cover various topics like dance challenges, fashion trends, prank videos, or even news updates. While this might seem like just another harmless social media app, new research shows that TikTok can negatively affect people's attention spans. Some studies have recently discovered that apps like TikTok affect people's brains. Specifically, it has altered how our brains release dopamine. Dopamine is often called the feel-good hormone because it produces feelings of pleasure that can motivate people to do more of an activity. It is a neurotransmitter that our brains release as a reward when we do undertakings such as eating a tasty meal, winning a race, or watching a funny video. So, when people watch short, 30-second videos over and over, their brains release more dopamine with each video. If people continually repeat this cycle over a period of time, it can eventually rewire our brains to expect instant gratification. When this isn't met, people will shift their attention to something new. Furthermore, it reduces our ability to delay gratification and focus on things for long periods of time. This issue can be especially problematic in teenagers whose brains are still developing and can lead to addictive tendencies. To prevent the development of TikTok brain in their children, parents are advised to limit the amount of screen time their children have. Parents should also set good examples by turning off their phones and fully engaging with their children during conversations.
That is the key advice, I think, in this article. Because if your parents are constantly on their phones, how is the child going to be any different, basically? So let's talk about this. The latest social media app. A social media app is an application or a tiny program on your cell phone that is just in order to connect you up to a particular social media. And social media is anything where it's a platform where people are sharing information with each other. So the interesting thing about social media is the content is not created by the company, it is created by the users. And so your users creating content is how you get other users to come and look at the content. It's an interesting thing to get people to do your work for you, kind of. So this social media app spreads like wildfire. To spread like wildfire, just look at California. You know how California periodically has fires that burn down huge swathes of forest? A wildfire, when it moves by wind, is unstoppable. You got to get out of the way. You cannot stop it. It will stop you. So if something spreads like fire, it spreads unstoppably. And this is among young people. So young people are just taking up TikTok like whoa. And not just young people, it turns out. Everybody. I was just in a taxi and the taxi driver was looking at TikTok. He was in his 40s maybe. He was looking at TikTok during when he was stopped at stoplights. Like he just immediately switched his attention to TikTok. So it's not just young people addicted to this app.
好 ，the latest 最新的 social media app 就是社群媒体的一个软体，这个 app。那后面呢 to spread like wildfire 是用来修饰这个 app， 所以这个 app 怎么样呢？它是会 spread like wildfire 就像如野火一般散开来 among young people 在年轻人之间像野火般散开来的这样的一个最新的社群媒体的这个 app 是什么呢？是 TikTok。This
app works by people creating and sharing short videos that usually last under a minute. It works. This app works. What does it do, some people might ask? The people who use TikTok or create things for TikTok just want to share and have a good time with other people. And fortunately, you can make a TikTok video in a very short period of time.
They give you all the controls to do it, so you don't have to go. You're making the video in-app.OK,
所以呢，这个 app works， 它的运作方式是 by 是怎么样运作呢？ By people 是由人们 creating and sharing short videos， 人们他们会创作，还有呢分享一些短的影片。那这些短的影片怎么样？是 that usually last under a minute， 通常这个短的影片持续的时间是不到1分钟的，所以这个 TikTok 的特性就在这里。
It was based off the success of an earlier app called Vine, where basically what made it successful is that the in-app controls for making a video made making videos so easy. You didn't have to understand anything. There was all sorts of effects that you could add. And so TikTok's main thing is that it allows people to create the content easily, so then they have the content to share with people.
好，所以 TikTok 它的特色就是它让不会拍影片的人也可以很轻易的拍影片。因为它的 app 里面有很多各式各样的拍影片需要的一些效果啊什么的，所以谁都可以拍影片来分享，所以它才这么的受欢迎。
So the videos posted often cover various topics like dance challenges, fashion trends, prank videos, or even news updates.
好，那这些影片呢 posted 就是被贴上去的影片 the videos that are posted 的这个传上去的这些影片呢，常常 cover 涵盖various topics 不同的主题，例如什么呢？ Dance challenges 就是舞蹈的挑战， Fashion trends 时尚的潮流，或者 prank videos 恶作剧的影片，或者甚至于是 news updates 新闻的更新。
While this might seem like just another harmless social media app, new research shows that TikTok can negatively affect people's attention spans. Harmless fun. They can't hurt anybody.Just tune in and have a few laughs, share it with your friends. And what's the problem? Well, the problem is that new research or recent research shows that TikTok can negatively affect. It has a negative effect on people's attention spans.
好，那 while 是虽然 this might seem like 也许这看起来好像是 just another 只不过是另外一个没什么大不了的另外一个 harmless 无害的 social media app 一个社群媒体的应用程式，虽然说看起来这没什么就无害的嘛它就是个社群媒体的应用程式，但是呢新的研究显示 new research shows 显示什么呢？这个 TikTok 它可能会 negatively affect 带来负面的影响什么呢？影响人们的 attention spans人们注意力持续的时间 span 在这里指的是 a period of time 我们常讲 lifespan 就是你的寿命，你也可以说 a span of life 一样的意思。
I mean, this is true mostly of all social media. It's just that TikTok, because it's a video format and because its algorithm is so厉害, it's just worse. It's just worse and more addictive than other social medias.
It's more powerful.
It's more powerful, yeah. So some studies have recently discovered that apps like TikTok affect people's brains. Like, not just TikTok, but all of these social media apps affect your brain. I mean, we used to talk about the detozu, about the people on... When Facebook was a thing and cell phones were new, it was all the people on the subway just scrolling. It's the same thing, but now it's more powerful and worse.
那有一些研究呢 some studies have recently discovered that 最近发现 apps like TikTok 好像 TikTok 这种应用程式呢 affect people's brains 它会影响人的头脑。
So how does that happen? Specifically, it has altered how our brains release dopamine, and we'll talk about this more in just a second. Alter is to change how our brains release dopamine. So it has this physical effect on the brain, and keep your brain. It'll come in handy.
Specifically 就是具体的说得更明确一点 exactly 或者 precisely 明确的说呢 it has alter 就是 to change or make different 它会改变 how our brains release dopamine 就是这个多巴胺 release 释放所以它会改变我们头脑如何释放多巴胺这个物质
Dopamine is often called the feel-good hormone because why? It produces feelings of pleasure. Whenever dopamine goes into your brain, you're like, And this will motivate people to do more of an activity because if you do something, you go, that feels good. You're going to keep doing it. Yes? Yes.
好，所以多巴胺呢 is often called 它常常被称为 the feel-good hormone 就是感觉良好的荷尔蒙会让你感觉很良好的荷尔蒙因为呢 it produces 它会产生 feelings of pleasure 愉悦的感觉那这种愉悦的感觉怎么样 that can motivate people 它可以促使人们 to do more 做更多的事情 of an activity to do more of an activity 就是一个你在做一件事情然后因为有多巴胺所以呢它会让你做更多的同一件事情叫做 more of an activity 就让你持续一直做同样一件事情那这里各位要注意另外一个 to motivate someone to do something 就是给他动机去做这件事情也就是去促使他去做这件事情 to give incentive to 的意思 motivate incentive 是 I-N-C-E-N-T-I-V-E to give incentive to
It is a neurotransmitter, is dopamine. Neuro refers to your nervous system, particularly the brain and the spine. To transmit is to send something from one place to another. So when you experience something pleasurable that your brain thinks, hey, this is cool, do it again. That's how it physically works on our system. Now, when you do something that the brain likes, like eating a tasty meal, winning a race, or watching a funny video, anything that is pleasurable to you, the brain, hey, do that again.
好，所以它是一种怎么样 neurotransmitter 就是神经传导物质好，那这个神经传导物质呢 that our brains release 是我们的头脑释放出来的一种神经传导物质指的是多巴胺那我们头脑放出来是怎么样是 as a reward 是作为一种奖励那 when we do undertakings 就是所做的事情 undertake 就是 to take or venture to do something 那所以 something undertaken 叫做 undertaking 所以我们做一些事情什么事情呢 such as 例如 eating a tasty meal 吃一顿美食或者是 winning a race 赢得比赛或者是 watching a funny video 看一个有趣的影片这些事情就是属于所谓的 undertakings 我们做这些事情的时候呢大脑会作为释放多巴胺作为一种奖励所以多巴胺是这样的一种神经传导物质
So when people watch short 30-second videos over and over, their brains release more dopamine with each video. So there's a thing where if someone is doing this, it's kind of like the same as, let's put it like this. Have you ever seen pictures of people in gambling halls pressing those cash machines where they're like, they keep putting quarters in and then they pull the lever and they keep...
Pachuca?
Oh, pachinko was another one. But I'm thinking about like lever machines in Vegas. If you just, there's videos of these old people just sitting there like hitting the buttons. That because of dopamine release, when they get something, they get the dopamine. So they keep hitting the button. So we're all of us standing with like little gambling machines in our hands, just keep sliding and getting more and more dopamine. And then what happens is your body runs out. You can only produce so much dopamine for a while. So suddenly you'll just have this sick, tired feeling. That's because you've used up all your dopamine. So yeah, that's what happens.
所以这个其实多巴胺的问题就是它人体会分泌多巴胺那有的时候我们就觉得要为了得到这个多巴胺我们就会重复做更多的同一件事情那每次做多巴胺就一直分泌可到最后多巴胺它的量也是有限的到最后多巴胺突然没有了你就突然就会觉得做这个事情非常的无聊你就觉得没什么意义等等
No, but you actually feel sick to your stomach. It's not that you get bored. It's like you just feel gross.
好所以那个时候你就会觉得其实是不只是心里难过身体都会觉得有点不舒适的感觉所以这是很大的问题所以这个地方讲到说所以当人们看这个一些 short 短的30秒钟的影片 over and over 就是 again and again repeatedly 反复的一直看的时候呢他们的头脑就会释放 更多的多巴胺 with each video， 随着每部影片头脑就会一直放，到最后就你会重复做同样的动作，可是呢到某一个点你就突然觉得这个没什么意思，而且觉得非常难过不舒服。
If people continually repeat this cycle over a period of time, it can eventually rewire our brains to expect instant gratification. We've talked to this point for the last 5 minutes. If you're doing something that is pleasant to you, dopamine kicks in and you get a further good feeling, and you don't want that to stop, so you go back and do the action again and again and again. This is sometimes referred to as instant gratification. You are pleasured for a short period of time, but it can happen again and again, and you have no reason to stop feeling good.
And so you don't want to, what the point is that you won't want to do anything that requires more complex work to feel good when you can do the short, fast thing to feel good.
好，所以他说如果人们 continually 就是持续的一再的，这 continually 他一再的持续 repeat this cycle 一直重复这个循环的话，那 over a period of time 经过一段时间之后，一直重复这个循环，经过一段时间之后呢，最后 eventually它有可能会 rewire our brains。 好 rewire our brains 就是让我们的大脑重新接线，也就是重塑我们的大脑。那我们的大脑就会改变它的结构，它就会 expect， 它就会期待要有 instant gratification。 instant 就是即时立即的， gratification 就是满足。所以换句话说，到时候呢，你这个大脑如果没有办法得到即时满足的话，它就去找别的东西了，那也表示你就没有办法，你的注意力持续的时间就会越来越短，那这个对于学习，对于深度的思考都是很不利的。
What you get is a bunch of restless people who can't focus on doing like basic tasks in their life because it's too boring, and so then they end up like living in squalor because they just don't have the mental attention to take care of important things.
所以结果就是因为他们已经没有脑力去处理这个重要的事情，因为他们注意力时间太短了，所以他们可能最后是一事无成，人生什么事都做不成了。
So when this isn't met, when you don't get the instant gratification, people will shift their attention to something new. So instead of doing something boring and hard that takes a while, you'll stop and be like, boring, and move to something else.
好 so when this isn't met， 那个 this 你可以说就是那个 expectation， 然后就你期待能够有 instant gratification。 当你这样的一个期待没有 met， 没有被满足的时候， met 在这里是满足的意思。当这样的期待没有被满足的时候，人们就会 shift their attention， 就会转移他们的注意力，转到怎么样 something new， 一些什么新的事物上面。
Furthermore, it reduces our ability to delay gratification and focus on things for long periods of time. My partners here have already spoken to this point. If you, I really should stop playing TikTok, I've got a paper to write, or I've got a test tomorrow, and then you do that for 2 minutes and, I'll just take another break and do TikTok, and you're really not going to get anything done.
Because half an hour later, you're like, I've got to start my paper.
所以 furthermore 此外，它会 reduces， 它会降低减低 our ability 我们的能力。我们什么的能力呢？ Our ability to delay gratification。 Delay 是延迟， gratification 是满足，所以它会降低我们延迟满足的能力。那其实 delay gratification 就是你要延迟满足，这个是成功者很重要的一个元素。就你要能够说，不要说我想干什么马上就要去做，不然的话就不行啊等等的，那样子的话你就很容易分心，就不容易成功。你要能够 delay gratification， 但是这个TikTok 看太多，你就 delay gratification 的能力就会降低，而且你另外一个能力也会降低，你怎么样 focus on things for long periods of time。 For long periods of time 就长期，你要长期专心做某件事情的能力也会降低，所以这个都是让你没有办法成功的很重要的一些因素。你没有办法长期专心，你就没有办法好好的这个学或者做好某一件事情。
This issue can be especially problematic in teenagers whose brains are still developing and can lead to addictive tendencies. So if your brain has never had a chance to acclimate to doing long, complicated things, and you're addicted to doing short, easy, pleasurable things, then your brain is going to develop into only being able to do short, pleasurable things, and then you're messed up for the rest of your life.
好，那 this issue 这样的一个问题呢，可以是 especially problematic。 problematic 就是有问题，会产生问题，就这个会造成一些特别会造成一些问题，在哪里呢？在 teenagers 身上，在青少年身上。 特别容易产生问题。那为什么呢？因为whose 就是指青少年他们的 brains， 他们的头脑呢 are still developing， 仍然在发展的时候，那因此呢，这就很可能会 lead to 导致 addictive tendencies， 会有那种成瘾的 addictive 成瘾的这种 tendencies 倾向，所以他们可能会成瘾，就希望能够不断的在短时间之内获得很多有趣的事情。那这个事实上跟学习跟真正的人生是不一样的。
To prevent the development of TikTok brain in their children, parents are advised to limit the amount of screen time their children have. Well, the same thing was said of TV, I can remember 40, 50 years ago, and teachers and parents were very concerned that the kids returned home from school and immediately turned on the TV and watched programs that they liked right up until dinner time, and then after dinner they were really too tired to do anything that they were supposed to and turn back to the TV.
It's actually the same problem as TikTok because when you watch videos, your brain goes into a passive mode that is not actively engaging. When you read, you're actively imagining the things you're thinking about. And so it's a different mode of brain being. And so also, so the criticisms of TV are the same criticisms of TikTok, but it's like now it's more even worse.
好，所以 screen time 其实以前指的是看电视的时间，现在指的是使用电脑或者手机的时间。好，那不管是看电视或者是使用电脑或手机，都有一个问题，就是这个时候你的大脑它是属于被动接收的状态，而不是主动的去 engage， 主动去思考，所以这个对于大脑的发展，对于智力的发展都是不好的。所以这个句子讲到说，为了要避免这个所谓的 TikTok brain 这样的一种发展，希望你不要成为抖音脑 in their children。如果要避免他们小孩不要有抖音脑的话呢，那父母亲 are advised to 就是被劝告要怎么样，也就是他们应该要怎样。父母亲应该要 limit the amount of screen time， 他们应该要限制他们小孩使用电脑或手机的时间。那 their children have 是指那个 screen time， 就是 the amount of screen time that their children have 的意思。
Douyin now is basically vibration brain. Anyways, parents should also set good examples by turning off their phones and fully engaging with their children during conversations. If you want your children to pay attention to you and not your TikTok, you have to pay attention to them and not your phone, okay?
Yeah. 好，所以 set good examples 就是树立好的典范，也就是以身作则。父母亲应该要以身作则，怎么做呢？ By turning off their phones， 把他们的手机关掉，然后呢 fully engaging with their children during conversations. During conversations 就是跟小孩讲话的时候呢，你要fully engaging with their children， 你要能够真正的完全投入。Engage with 就是 to involve oneself, to participate in 的意思。好，那意思就是有的时候小孩跟父母亲讲话，父母亲可能也在滑手机，好，所以感觉起来也是有一点分心，好，不是很专心跟小孩讲话。那小孩就会觉得说啊，手机那么重要，那我也去玩手机了，等等的。所以跟小孩子讲话的时候呢，你把手机关掉，不要一边看手机一边跟小孩讲话，你要完全投入跟小孩好好讲话。
Okay, that's it for the article, but we have a few questions for you, reading comprehension questions. Number 1, according to the passage, which of the following is not true about TikTok?
根据本文，关于 TikTok， 以下哪项不正确呢？
The answer is B. It never covers any topics other than dance challenges.
答案是 B， 它从不涵盖除了舞蹈挑战之外的任何主题，这个是错误的。
Number 2, why is dopamine often referred to as the feel-good hormone?
为什么多巴胺常常被称为感觉良好荷尔蒙呢？
The answer is B, it creates sensations of delight.
答案是 B， 因为它能产生愉悦的感觉。
Number 3, according to the passage, what can parents do to keep their children from developing TikTok brain?
根据本文，父母可以做哪些事情呢？来防止孩子形成抖音脑。
We think the best answer is D, set restrictions on how long their children look at the screen.
答案是 D， 限制孩子看荧幕的时间。
Okay, that's it for today's lesson. Turn off your TikTok and make sure you've got time for your friends, your family, your hobbies, and your schoolwork.
Go out and touch grass.
Yeah. Okay, until the next time. Bye-bye.